Well, let's jump forward in time to your revisiting the island. What was it like this time?
Yes, I'd always wanted to go back because when I left, most of the infrastructure was still extant. But there's been much more dramatic eruptions since I left and fatalities, unfortunately. People just as friendly and welcoming as I remembered from 16 years ago. They are trying to promote ecotourism and geotourism. However, 2/3 of the island is now an exclusion zone.
You can't go in there at all.
It's a criminal offence, and if you're non-Montserratian, you'll be deported. So they've only got 13 square miles now to cram everybody into.
Oh, like the Isle of Wight or something.
And unfortunately, the area that is directly affected by the volcano was the capital where most people lived. And so the capital and all its infrastructure, the hospitals, the hurricane shelters, that all had to be abandoned, and everyone moved up to the north, where prior to that there'd only been a few hundred subsistence farmers. So Montserrat has had to start again from scratch, building up its infrastructure, new airport, new port, banking facilities, government facilities. And it's been a dislocation of societies. They lived in very small, localised societies, very supportive, knew each other, and now much more dispersed. Of course, the population has also reduced. Britain gave residency rights to anyone who wanted to travel to Britain. Canada took people in, as did many other Caribbean islands.
So I presume that they're keen to encourage visitors. I mean, what would you do if you went to Montserrat?
Yeah, very much so. They were quite angry at a lot of the doom and gloom documentaries that came out the first few years after the first eruptions. There are now marked walking trails, which there never were before. When we were doing our survey work, we were very much fighting through the undergrowth, but now there are some wonderful trails. The snorkeling is fantastic, let alone the diving. But it's also the kind of island where you really go to chill, or lime, as they say in that part of the Caribbean. You lime. And certainly at this time of year, it's now getting so hot and humid that really all you want to do after 9 o'clock in the morning is lime with a rum punch and try and stay out of the sun. But beautiful wildlife as well. A lot of the species that we surveyed were taken off island, and there have been various captive breeding programs on Jersey and the London Zoo and Chester Zoo, and they're now being reintroduced. And they're still very proud of their island, and they desperately want people to visit. You can, of course, now take boat trips around to see the devastated capital of Plymouth. You can't visit it on land, but you can certainly visit it by boat and see it offshore. And that's a very sobering sight, because the last time I saw it, the buildings were still intact, and it's a totally different story now.
Well, it's fascinating. Thank you very much, David Edwards.